It's now time for the latest business news, and I'm delighted to be joined on set by Karis Garland. It's our top story, the G20 summit, and the leaders of the US and India cementing ties, particularly in the tech world.
Exactly, tech and defence. Shortly after touching down in New Delhi, Joe Biden met with Narendra Modi at his home, actually, for just under an hour of talks. The two leaders released a statement reaffirming cooperation. And according to a senior US official, they're both working on a, quote, major breakthrough to be announced on Saturday related to infrastructure and communications that would link India with the Middle East and Europe. Biden also welcomed a request for New Delhi to procure 31 General Atomics drones, and the countries pledged further cooperation on issues ranging from semiconductors to nuclear energy. India, which has an unresolved border dispute with China, is leaning on Washington as it seeks to boost military preparedness and its high-tech capabilities. There are concerns that Apple products are getting caught up in tensions between the US and China. It comes after a report from the Wall Street Journal earlier this week saying Chinese state employees were being told not to bring their iPhones to work. It's led to the US firm Apple losing just under $200 billion in market capitalization. Siobhan Silk explains.
Another blow against the US tech giant Apple in an escalating tech war. Its share price had already taken a tumble in the last couple of days after reports that employees of China's central government have been banned from using Apple products while at work. Now, the Japanese financial newspaper Nikkei says the ban is extending to local government offices and state-owned companies. Beijing hasn't confirmed or denied the reports.
Products and services from any country are welcome as long as they comply with Chinese laws and regulations. This is fundamentally different from the indiscriminate abuse of the so-called security concept by certain countries to suppress and curb Chinese enterprises.
That's a reference to US bans on products made by Chinese companies like Huawei, citing security concerns, and to US restrictions on the Chinese video sharing app TikTok for the same reasons. But it's semiconductors that are on the front line. The Biden administration has been trying to cut China off from advanced computer chips. Last year, it restricted the export of tools used in chip production. China responded with export controls on raw materials. US tech companies are deeply embedded in China. It's Apple's third largest market and, more importantly, the manufacturing hub for almost all of its iPhones, iPads and MacBooks. It's gradually shifting some production to other countries, but that will take years. Meanwhile, it's in the middle as the US and China trade tit-for-tat blows in this very 21st century trade war.
Let's take a look at the day's trading action now. And on Wall Street, trading was choppy before the close, and all three major averages suffered overall losses this week. The Dow Jones gained just over 0.2% this Friday. The S&P 500 added 0.17%, and the Nasdaq losing just under a tenth of a percent there. Just under a tenth of a percent. The monthly cost of renting a room in London has surpassed £1,000 for the first time. That's according to data compiled by Spare Room, a platform that helps people find flatmates. It shows the average rent for a single room in the capital at £1,013, jumping 15% compared to the same time last year. That's double the rate of inflation. Finally, with the Rugby World Cup officially getting underway here in France, it's hoped the event will provide a boost to the country's economy. More than 2.5 million tickets have been sold for the matches that will take place across France. Some 600,000 overseas visitors are set to attend. And according to the France Tourism Development Agency, the tournament will generate an estimated €2.4 billion. The country will also be facing scrutiny less than a year out from the Paris Olympic Games, especially after the 2022 Champions League final, when a flawed transport plan and disorganized security led to chaos in the capital. Well, so far, so good, I think, Alex, we can say.
Yeah, I was just watching the match before I came into the studio. It's fairly even so far. I'll have to see how it's going later on. Thank you very much for all the business news.